Okay, so today we are going to make a bit of a VFX shot. I'm going to uh, tell you how you can match your VFX and the live action footage in Blender without using HDRIs and other lighting techniques which you generally use, because today we are gonna use the sky texture only. This is a really helpful tool and you can use this to match VFX shots, generally outside shots, because you can get lighting data straight out of the node. So yeah, let's try that. I'm opening my Blender, and just to let you know what I'm going to do today, this is my this is something what we are gonna do. So I have this video. Let me show you this video. This is my shadow catcher. This the whole thing, and this is something it looks like. So when we add something to this, let me shade smooth there, and let's give this good amount of geometry, and I'll rotate it a little bit just to see where it's touching. You can see what happens is this is actually a good uh, color match, because it's matching the lighting of the shot. It's matching it, doing it pretty good, and also the light. You can give it a color, I don't know, maybe this or this, with some new color, something like this stone or something like that. And you can do very small things. So let's start. So I'm going to use this as my reference, so let's minimize this. Actually, let's go to solid view, minimize this, open the new blender scene. For this general full screen, I'm gonna delete all this, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna import my tracking data. I've tracked this footage in Buju, and but you can use Blender instead, or any other application. Buju just works for me really good. I'm just trying to find this, scale to up to 1000, and I'm going to select, as Blender is Z up and Y forward. I'm going to import. So as you can see, our Blender has beautifully tracked, our Bujo has beautifully tracked, and my scene is up to 130 frames, so I'm going to set it up right there. And you're gonna say, so where's the video? For this you have to go to background images in camera, and images, open, and then this is the base plate, which is 130. So A to select all, and yeah, that's it. You might think that this has worked, or this fits well perfectly, but there's one error, and it's okay. Let me show you. Look at this trackers. Can you see it? It does not move on first frame itself. The footage moves, however, but it does not track track those points on how it should have done. And for this, the reason is Buju and Blender does not really actually goes well. So for that, it always starts from the frame second. Maybe it's the frame offset he have set in Buju or I have set in Buju was wrong, but I always face this issue. And for this, here the solution is very simple. You just select all the trackers, you hit G on your keyboard, and then just push it and to 1. So now the keyframes will start from 1 and your scene will track the data beautifully. So that's it for the camera tracking part. Now I'm going to switch to cycles, experimental, and then GPU compute, branch, viewport denoising, all that things. I'm just going to turn off the relationship lights, and so now what we need is I'm going to select this point and make this as my origin. Cursor to selected. I'm going to insert a plane. I'm going to insert a plane RZ, something like this. Let's go to wireframe mode and now go to edit mode, GX, and try to fill this area. The more you fill this area, the better lighting or the reflections you will get out of your base plate, something like this. And it's not actually correctly in sync with this line, so you have to try to manually do it and bring this right here. It's too much. RZ, so you can take this to down. Let's check it from above. Yeah, you can see it's a perfect square. So try to get as much as close to that, and now we can play, and this thing is perfectly tracking. So what we are gonna do is we're gonna select a frame, and for me it was 126, I think, which had the perfect thing I wanted. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open my shader tab. So I'm gonna select new, and here I'm gonna select an image, and this image will be one of the image from base plate. And what I've selected here is 126, so I'm gonna need the 126 thing image. I'm gonna select that, and I'm gonna hit tab, select all, and UV. So you click U for this and V for project from view. Okay, so now we have got this image. It kind of look a bit janky, but you know what, you don't actually need it, because we are not going to show this anyway. We just need it for the color. Okay, you can go and you can select, and you can do this thing also, like UV editor. You can go to not UV editor, yeah, UV editor, and you can select this, and you can unwrap it the normal way, just a UV unwrap, and you can select and scale this all down, and you can do this too, but still it will get distorted. So what I think is project from view is one of the good techniques. Okay, so yeah, this thing's done. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to actually just a second, UV coordinates. Yes, I'm going to, this thing is fine, it's actually fine, and we're going to close this tab, go into render view. So now you can see there's this thing showing up. So you want to select this, you want to go into object data, not object data, the object properties, and viewport display, no, the visibility, and make it a shadow catcher. Now you can see if I put a mesh here, it won't actually acts like a shadow catcher, it actually acts like a normal plane. So for that you have to go to render properties, film, you want to click transparent. So now it's just the thing is there, but it's actually acting as a shadow catcher. So we want to delete this cube, and now comes the best part. Open your shader editor, and you can use HDRI too, which is more efficient, but in case you don't have that camera, or you just don't know how to do it, or you want to do it everything in Blender, this might be a good option for you. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do all the hard work again. I'm just going to my I mistakenly clicked on substance painter. It's gonna open in a second now. Oops, sorry for that. So I'm gonna go in my shader editor. You can go it from shift 3, the shortcut. So I'm going to go in world settings. I'm going to copy this in my this I can't copy, I guess. Yeah, so apparently I think I cannot copy this, so instead I'm gonna use it like this. Okay, so what do we know about this? Wait a minute, let me settle my scene. So let's get a monkey over here, the Suzanne, and let's give it a subdivision of 1 and shade smooth GZ, and let's make it a little bigger. I think this is fine. So now you can see there's generally no lighting, so monkey is showing all dark because there is no light bouncing on it. So for that we have to go back to our node. So this is our world output. We have to create sky texture. So the sky texture will provide you with some settings itself ready. What I recommend is to do is, rather than adjusting all this and trying new, try to clear it all or everything 0 and start with something blank or something clearly with 0. Also use a sun disk, it provides a good shadow effect. So yeah, so this is the sun size. Okay, let me go back to this transparent thing. So what this controls is actually the size of the sun. So now here let's try to increase the sun size. You cannot see sun anywhere because there is no intensity right now, so let it be on 12.8. now we are going to increase because there is a sun in this shot, it has literally no power. So the sun intensity is the power. This is the number to control power. So we are gonna do it up to, we are going to stick with this thing. So let's do it 0.090. And so there's a sun. So zero intensity is zero sun, and yeah, that's it. So let's go back 0.90 or 0.090, and this is our sun. So what is elevation and rotation of sun? So as the name say, elevation, it will it is the basically it is the how high, sorry for my words, how high the sun is. So this is something like sunset or sunrise, and the more you increase the number, the higher it will go. Okay, so in our case, for our particular shot, it is up to something 72.5 degree. So let's type in the number 72.5 degree. So that is way high. That is like what we can call it, like afternoon shot or something like that. So we can see, if we go back into camera view, we can hit on transparent. It's right on the head, and I think that's a bit right. Yeah. So what the next we have to do is, you can clearly see it is at the right height. It's also reflecting the grass color onto the monkey face. The only problem is the shadows are not matching, and that's where you come into sun rotation. It's the same thing with the sun rotation. The rotation of this number will calculate how the sun will rotate in your particular axis. Let's go back to 0. Let's go back to 0 and try to rotate our sun. It moves in x and y axis, like not x and y, it moves in a z axis, and basically it's like it determines east, west, north, south, all those things. Okay, it rises from east and sets in west, or maybe it's differently. So in our case, it's up to something 37.1 degree. So what, 37.1 degree? So that is somewhere here, and elevation was 72.5 degree. So now you can see it's up. The sun was basically right here, and we have bring it right here. So our scene is, now our sun is transferring our shadows correctly. If we rotate a monkey head, you can see it's doing it properly. So now what is altitude? So altitude, you can basically call it as the height from the sea. I don't know the technical thing, but in this case the altitude will help us. Let me show you. The altitude will help us to match the color of the sky, and that is one of like the best parts of this thing. You can use altitude option as. So let's go and bring this spear right about there. I'm going to scale this, shade smooth, you know the drill. So what I'm going to do, this sphere is my reference, and I'm going to make it I'm going to make this as bright as it can get. it will be full metal, 100% specular, and 0% reference. So what these things get you, you can clear out everything else, and what this thing gets is this. Okay, now watch what happens. Now when you go back to world settings and then you try to increase your altitude, 0 point, let's go with this number. Now if you have something, a altitude, a height, you have that height, but it's not visible here because there is no matter here which can give you the accurate results, and for that you have to bring some air particles, not air particles, some dust particles and a little bit of air, because even air scatters light. I think that, yeah. So you have to hold shift and just ever slightly add in a little bit of air, and you can see instantly that you have this thing. Now if you try to manipulate altitude, you can do it. Because there is something, there is air, and this is how just the world works, I guess. 840, yeah. And for R, you can see this video and you can see it might be a really bright, or what we say is a sunny day. So let me get this, where is it? So you can see this is the full image, and you can see it's a really bright day, and it's not this is not actually a good color for a really bright day. It's not blue tint in the sky when it's really bright. It's more kind of a white thing. So I'm going to increase this by 138, and now it's kind of a right tone. So we got here dust and ozone. You can have dust basically creates a little bit of red and brown this thing color in your atmosphere. So that's you get to know there's a little bit of dust in the air. Let me show you. If you increase this, you'll see something brownish, and all these things, like there's actually dust in this. And maybe I'll maybe or maybe not. Yeah, so let's add a little bit of dust. Ozone is your, I think, the highest point. I think if you are doing a mountain shot or something like that, I think ozone can help you to get that high atmosphere kind of feel. But in our case, I don't think so we need it. So yeah, that's it. Other thing I want to bring to attention is sun size and sun intensity. Okay, was 5.4, I guess. 5.4. Yeah. So what sun intensity does, like sun size actually does, it also uh, also also captures the hardness and the softness, controls the hardness and the softness of this shadow. So so if we click this to one, you can see the shadows are much harder, while as to our live action footage, shadows are a bit softer. So if we go and increase this up to, well, my number was 5.4, but you can do according to your live action footage. So I'm going to set it to 5.4. So then the size of the sun also controls, it actually controls the shadows. and the intensity controls the power. So that was it.